two bodies were found right here at this store in Apopka on Friday evening.
I'm just a person that's heartbroken that, you know what I mean, a person that I called a friend, you know, a sister, that she's gone.
February 6th, 2026, 9:07 in the evening. Griffin's General Store on West Michael Gladden Boulevard in Apopka, Florida. A place that had been open for 11 years straight without closing once. Not for holidays, not for emergencies. Nothing. Until that Friday night, Apopka Police Department got the call. Officers rushed to the scene. When they pushed through those doors, they found two people lying dead inside. No forced entry, no signs of a robbery. The cash register untouched, just blood pooling on the floor, silence hanging heavy in the air, and a question that would haunt this tight-knit community for weeks. Who kills someone in a neighborhood store where everybody knows your name? The victim? A woman who had worked at that store since day one. A woman customers drove out of their way to see. She remembered your order, asked about your family, made you laugh even when you walked in feeling like garbage. Friends described her as someone with zero enemies, zero drama, zero beef with anyone. One friend said it best. To know Shanita is to love her. No disagreements, arguments, fallouts, or nothing. She showed up to work every single day with a smile on her face. Never late, never complained. The kind of person who made you feel seen in a world that usually looks right past you. So when police found her body that night, the entire community went into shock. Who would want her dead? What kind of monster walks into a store and takes out someone so beloved? Here's the part that makes your stomach drop. The person who killed her wasn't a stranger, wasn't some random thug looking for quick cash. It was someone she knew. Someone she trusted. Someone who shared her last name. This is the story of Shanita Swift. And before we're done here, you're gonna ask yourself one question that'll keep you up tonight. How well do you really know the people you love? Welcome to Shadows of Crime. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button, smash the like, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from today. Trust me, you don't want to miss what happens next. Her friends called her Nita Bug. That nickname tells you everything you need to know about Shanita Swift. She was the kind of person who made you feel like family the second you walked through the door. Warm. Funny. The type who remembered your usual order and asked how your kids were doing in school. Griffin's General Store had been open for 11 years without closing once. Not for Thanksgiving. Not for Christmas. Not for anything. And Shanita Swift had been there since the beginning. She was the backbone of that place. Store owner Maurice Griffin said it plainly. Man, I'll tell you, she loved to come to work. She always was on time, and no issues with her.
She loved to come to work. She always was on time, and no issues with her. Great worker. She came in, she got right to work, no problem.
Regular customer Marvin Prince remembered her the same way. Every time I come to this door, you know, she just had that smile on her face. She was generous.
Bring you up even if she didn't know you were down. She was just that type of person. This is a sad, sad situation. I am really...
But it wasn't just customers who loved her. Shanita had friends scattered across different states, and even with the distance, she stayed connected. She'd check in on their mothers, their sisters. If she changed her phone number, she made sure they got it. That's intentional. That's loyalty. Victor, one of her closest friends, put it like this. Once you got in the store, she would say something funny and bring you up even if she didn't know you were down. She was just that type of person. Another friend said, to know Shanita is to love her. She was one of a kind. When I say a friend with absolutely no disagreements, arguments, fallouts, or nothing, our friendship was the best. Shanita had a daughter, family who adored her, a community that depended on her. In a promotional video for the store, You can see the pride in her voice. My name is Shanita Swift, and I'm here at Griffin's General, where we've been open here for June will be 11 years. We specialize in hot, good breakfast and lunch all the way until 1 o'clock. We have seafood here available and barbecue here on the weekends. Come by and see us.
My name is Shanita Swift, and I'm here at Griffin's General, where we've been open here for June will be 11 years. We specialize in hot, good breakfast and lunch all the way until 1. We have seafood here available and barbecue here on the weekends. Come by and see us.
She wasn't just clocking in and out. She was building something, creating a space where people felt welcome. But here's what nobody talks about in those tributes. Shanita had a brother. His name was Ezra Swift. And according to store owner Maurice Griffin, whenever Ezra showed up at Griffin's General Store, the two of them bumped heads. People around Apopka knew him as Country E. Ezra Swift was 45 years old, and if you asked folks who'd crossed paths with him, they'd tell you he was playful, loud, the type to crack jokes and rough you up in that brotherly way. He had a presence. When Ezra walked into a room, you knew it. His daughter, Azaria Swift, defended both her father and her aunt after their deaths. She told reporters, they were kind people, and they were loved people who did what they could to add their part to the community. It's a lot. We're trying, but 2 deaths at once is kind of shocking.
That they were kind people and that they were loved people. It's a lot, we're trying, but 2 deaths at once is kind of shocking.
An ex-girlfriend remembered him the same way. He was playful, always had a joke to throw out, and if he saw you, he made it known. He'd come up to you, start messing around, just being himself. But she also admitted they hadn't seen each other in a long time. They'd gone their separate ways in life. No bad blood. Just distance. Because here's the thing about Ezra Swift. His life looked nothing like his sister's. While Shanita showed up to work every day with a smile, Ezra was dealing with a lengthy criminal history. Arrests for drug possession. Robbery. There were periods when he had no stable place to live. Homelessness became part of his reality. Ezra wasn't living the same life as Shanita, not even close. And that tension? It showed up whenever he visited Griffin's General Store. See, owner Maurice Griffin noticed it every time. He said the siblings bumped heads. But here's what's important. There were no police calls, no reports of violence between them, no public blowouts that made the neighbors talk. Just tension, the kind that simmers under the surface. The kind that most families know too well but never address. Victor, the friend who knew both of them, said Ezra was a really good person. He struggled to process what happened, because in his mind, Ezra didn't fit the profile of someone capable of violence. But people are complicated. You can be playful and troubled at the same time. You can love your family and still clash with them every time you're in the same room. You can have a criminal record and still be somebody's father, somebody's brother, somebody's friend. And Azaria said something that stuck with a lot of people. That actually took me back a bit, the murder thing. I didn't know for them to be struggling with anything. She didn't see it coming. Nobody did. Okay, real talk. Drop a comment right now. Have you ever had a family member you loved but couldn't be around? Someone who just rubbed you the wrong way? Let's talk about it. February 6th, 2026. 6:30 in the evening. Victor walked into Griffin's General Store like he'd done 100 times before. Shanita was behind the counter, smiling, cracking jokes, making him feel better about whatever weight he'd been carrying that day. Everything was normal. Everything was fine. He left around 6:30 p.m. That was the last time he saw her alive. Somewhere between 6:30 and 9 p.m., Ezra Swift showed up at the store. We don't know exactly when. We don't know what brought him there that night. Was it an argument that had been building for weeks? Was it about money? Old wounds that never healed? Family secrets that festered in silence? Nobody knows, and that's the part that haunts people the most. Whatever it was, it escalated fast. 9:07 p.m., Apopka Police Department received a service call. Officers rushed to Griffin's General Store on West Michael Gladden Boulevard. Lights flashing, sirens cutting through the quiet Friday night. When they walked through those doors, they found 2 people dead inside. Shanita Swift, Ezra Swift, brother and sister. Both gone. At first, police weren't saying much. They posted an update on Facebook that night, letting the community know there was no ongoing threat. But they didn't clarify what happened. Was this a double homicide? A murder? They needed time. They needed to collect evidence, talk to witnesses, wait on forensics. But the store owner, Maurice Griffin? He wasn't there when it happened. But when police finally cleared the scene and he walked into his store, he saw what went down. And he knew. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. This wasn't some random act of violence. This was family. By Monday, February 10th, the Apopka Police Department released their findings. Investigators had spent the weekend piecing together what happened. Evidence collected at the scene, witness statements, forensic findings. All of it pointed to the same devastating conclusion. Ezra Swift fatally shot his sister Shanita before turning the gun on himself. No forced entry, no outside threat. To no stranger with a mask and a motive, just a brother and sister, and a gun. The police department's official statement read, "Following a thorough investigation conducted by detectives, the incident has been determined to be a domestic murder involving 2 adult siblings. Investigators determined that the suspect fatally shot his sister before subsequently taking his own life. Evidence collected at the scene, witness statements, and forensic findings confirm that this was an isolated domestic violence incident between family members. The community went into shock, complete disbelief. People started showing up at the store even though it was closed. They brought balloons, candles, flowers. A memorial grew right there on the sidewalk outside Griffin's General Store. For the first time in 11 years, when that store wasn't open for business, Marvin Prince, a regular customer, stood outside trying to make sense of it. I pray and hope that they find and figure out what happened here, because this is just unbelievable. For that time of night, the store is open. A lot of people is around here. So, I don't understand why nobody don't know nothing. But somebody knows something. Victor couldn't wrap his head around it either. He told reporters, "I'm still trying to process this, you know, because he was a really, really good friend of mine, and he was a really, really good person. This is a sad, sad situation. I am really shocked."
I'm still trying to process this, you know, because she was a really, really good friend of mine, and she was a really, really good person.
One of Shanita's friends posted online, and her words captured what everybody was feeling. Who would want to kill her? She's a sweetheart and loved people unconditionally. The answer? Her brother, and nobody knows why. Pause the video. I need you to think about this. If someone you loved, someone you grew up with, snapped like this, would you see it coming? Comment below. Be honest. When police arrived at Griffin's General Store that Friday night, they immediately secured the scene. Evidence was collected. Shell casings, blood spatter patterns, gunshot residue, the position of the bodies, the weapon. Everything pointed to a clear sequence of events. Detectives interviewed witnesses, people who were in the area, people who knew the siblings. They reviewed surveillance footage from the store. They talked to Maurice Griffin, the store owner, who walked into the aftermath and saw what had unfolded. By Monday, February 10th, Apopka Police Department had their answer. They posted an official statement on Facebook. Following a thorough investigation conducted by detectives, the incident has been determined to be a domestic murder involving 2 adult siblings. investigators determined that the suspect fatally shot his sister before subsequently taking his own life. Evidence collected at the scene, witness statements, and forensic findings confirmed that this was an isolated domestic violence incident between family members. Case closed. No trial, no courtroom testimony, no prosecutor laying out a timeline, no defense attorney arguing circumstances, no jury deliberating guilt or innocence. The one person who could tell us why this happened was dead. Ezra Swift took that answer with him. His daughter, Azaria Swift, spoke to reporters in the days following the tragedy. She was still processing the loss of both her father and her aunt. She said, "That actually took me back a bit, the murder thing. I didn't know for them to be struggling with anything." She didn't see it coming. Nobody did.
Actually, it took me back a bit, the murders thing. I didn't know for them to be struggling with anything.
The Apopka Police Department added in their statement, "While this incident occurred within a family context, the department recognizes that any act of family violence has a significant emotional impact on loved ones and the broader community. Our thoughts are with the family during this difficult time." They also made it clear that Monday's announcement was the final update they would provide on the case. No more press conferences, no more details. The investigation was over. But for the family, for the friends, for the community, the questions were just beginning. Outside Griffin's General Store, the memorial kept growing. Flowers, balloons, candles, notes written on scraps of paper. People who hadn't been to that store in months showed up just to grieve, to leave something, to try and make sense of the senseless. For the first time in 11 years, Griffin's General Store was closed. The lights were off. The door was locked. And the woman who had been the heart of that place was gone. Friends posted tributes online. One wrote, "I cried literally all night because who would want to kill her? She's a sweetheart and loved people unconditionally." But here's the part that made it even harder to process. People were mourning both of them. Ezra and Shanita, brother and sister, killer and victim. Shanita trusted her brother. She had to. He was family. She probably never saw it coming. And here's the thing about cases like this. They don't come with warning signs. At least, not the ones we're trained to look for. There were no police calls between Shanita and Ezra. No restraining orders. No documented history of violence. No public fights that made neighbors dial 911. Just tension. Just bumping heads whenever they were in the same space. And that's what makes this so dangerous. Because most of us have family members like that. People we love but can't be around for too long. People who push our buttons. People we avoid at family gatherings because we know how it's going to go. We write it off as normal family drama. But sometimes, that tension is a warning we're not paying attention to. Takeaway number 1, recognize escalating family tension. If 2 people in your family can't be in the same room without arguing, that's not normal. That's a red flag. Store owner Maurice Griffin noticed it every time Ezra came around. He said they bumped heads, but nobody intervened. Nobody sat them down and said, "What's really going on here?" Nobody suggested mediation or counseling or any kind of intervention. And now they're both dead. Takeaway number 2, address criminal histories and instability. Ezra Swift had a lengthy criminal history: drug possession, robbery, periods of homelessness. Those aren't excuses for what he did, but they are risk factors. They're signs that someone is struggling, that their life is unstable, that they might need intervention before something tragic happens. Communities need better reentry programs for people coming out of the criminal justice system, better access to housing, better support for people dealing with substance abuse, because when people are desperate, when they're struggling, when they feel like they have nothing left to lose, that's when violence becomes a possibility. Takeaway number 3, Workplace safety. Griffin's General Store was a neighborhood spot, the kind of place where everybody knows your name. But it didn't have panic buttons, no security barriers, no protocols for handling known conflicts between employees and visitors. When Ezra walked in that night, there was nothing to stop him. Small business owners, especially those running convenience stores, need to think about safety. Install panic buttons that alert police immediately. Consider security barriers at the counter. Train employees on de-escalation techniques. And if there's a known conflict, if someone has been causing problems, document it. Report it. Don't wait until it's too late. Takeaway number 4. Access to firearms and crisis intervention. We don't know if Ezra was struggling with his thoughts that night. We don't know if he planned this, or if it was an impulse decision. But we know he had access to a gun, and we know he used it. If someone in your life is going through a crisis, if they're showing signs of instability, if they're talking about harming themselves or others, call 988. That's the and Crisis Lifeline. It's available 24/7. Trained counselors can talk to them, assess the situation, and connect them with help. These aren't just numbers. They're lifelines. Shanita Swift didn't deserve this. She didn't deserve to die at her job, in a place she loved, and at the hands of her own brother. Her daughter didn't deserve to lose her mother. And Azaria Swift didn't deserve to lose both her father and her aunt in one night. This tragedy didn't have to happen, and the next one doesn't have to happen either. But it's on us to recognize the signs, to intervene, to get people help before it's too late. Because the people we love the most can sometimes hurt us the worst. And by the time we see it coming, it's already too late. Griffin's General Store is open again. Life goes on. The doors unlock every morning. Customers come in for their coffee, their breakfast sandwiches, their lottery tickets. The register rings. The lights stay on. But every time someone walks through those doors, they remember. They remember the woman who stood behind that counter for 11 years. The woman with the smile. The woman who made you feel seen in a world that usually looks right past you. Shanita Swift was the heart of that store. And now, she's gone. Her daughter is growing up without her mother. Her friends are living with the weight of that last conversation, that last hug, that last smile. The community is left with a hole that can never be filled. And the question that haunts everyone, why? We'll never know. And that's the cruelest part. There's no trial transcript to read, no confession to analyze, no motive laid out in black and white. Ezra Swift took that answer with him when he pulled the trigger. And now everyone who loved Shanita, everyone who loved him, is left to carry that weight forever. Here's what we do know. Domestic violence doesn't always look like what you think. It's not always a husband and wife. It's not always a boyfriend and girlfriend. Sometimes it's siblings. Sometimes it's parents and children. Sometimes it's people you'd never suspect. And it doesn't always come with warning signs. No police reports. No hospital visits. No 911 calls. Sometimes it's quiet. Hidden. Festering in places nobody can see until it's too late. Shanita Swift deserved better. She deserved to grow old, to watch her daughter grow up, to keep spreading that light she carried everywhere she went, to keep making people smile, to keep being the friend with no arguments, no fallouts, no drama. She deserved to live. But Ezra Swift took that from her, took it from her family, took it from her community. And then he took himself out, leaving everyone else to pick up the pieces he shattered. So here's my question for you. Who are you checking on today? Who in your life might be struggling in silence? Who's carrying weight they're not talking about? Because the people we love the most can sometimes hurt us the worst. And by the time we see it, it's too late. Don't wait. Reach out. Ask the hard questions. Get people help. If this story hit you, subscribe to Shadows of Crime. We tell the stories that need to be told, the ones that hurt, the ones that matter. Hit that notification bell. Share this video. And remember, sometimes the biggest threat isn't a stranger on the street. It's the person sitting right next to you. Rest in peace, Shanita Swift. You deserved so much better.